Hello, scumbags. We are back here again for Vote of No Confidence. And as per usual, you're watching this here on the Rebel Scum podcast channel. So please subscribe and follow us for all of our upcoming content. I mean, Rebels is coming back, Solo's coming out. So there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about. And we're still in the post Last Jedi phase of, everything that's coming out. And, my guest today is a go-to player in this group of ours, Andrew Fantasia. How you doing, buddy?
Finally, somebody acknowledges that I'm a player. How's it going, Rob?
I'm doing excellent. So, as per usual, we are talking a topic, and we're gonna debate on either side of it. And again, we're doing some Last Jedi topics, and one that may seem kind of ridiculous when you ask from the question, but a lot of people seem to be fighting on the other side, and that. This question is, Andrew, do you want to take it?
the question is, did The Last Jedi ruin Star Wars?
Well,
oh boy.
There you go. It's a topic that's been coming out. There's a lot of people that have been fighting that it has, but that's why we're here. We're going to try to talk out both sides and see where people are coming from. People have been a little bit upset at me that I've been on the negative side recently, but I fit the positive. Meanwhile, over there we got negative Nancy, Andrew Fantasia, but let's hit the negative side on this one. So yeah, and I just want to let you guys know. A couple people are asking me, because we all love Star Wars. With Vote of No Confidence, we're always going to start with the positive side first, because I think at our heart, at our soul, in our soul, we're all fans of Star Wars. We all love Star Wars. So again, that's how we're always going to start. So I will start first here on this, and in general, this is a 41-year-old franchise right now. One that's had classic movies like A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back. I'll even say Return of the Jedi is definitely a classic movie. Some people have their problems with it, but that's still like an amazing ending to that trilogy. And then you have, say what you want to about the prequels. Those prequels were special for some people because those were their Star Wars movies for a lot of people. And that's just the beauty of Star Wars. And to suggest that one movie, I think, just takes it out, regardless of how divisive it is. And I believe it is divisive. It's not how the negative people would say that it's all like everybody hates it, even though I don't like it. I don't think it's killing Star Wars. So I'm going to start off with a soft one to start off here. I think we all want to hear what Andrew has to say most of all. So Andrew, go ahead, buddy.
Let me start off by saying that James's coin is a jerk.
Yeah, it can be absolutely sometimes.
Yeah. Well, so if I had to argue for the side of The Last Jedi ruining Star Wars as we know it, bringing it to an end, I would say that yes, it did. I'll also start on a little softball here, because I think at the end of the day, Star Wars as we knew it had to end. It had to be destroyed. It had to, the past has to die so that the future can move on. And I think that you needed to do something crazy in order to end one chapter and begin another. I always, when we did ranking Star Wars, the first time we did it, I had Return of the Jedi as my number one. And I've always loved Return of the Jedi, but if there's one thing about Return of the Jedi that I was always, I don't like this about it, it's the original ending. I'm not even talking special edition. I'm talking original Yub-Nub ending of Return of the Jedi. And the reason that I didn't really like that was because here's this trilogy. Here's this epic story that is like the most epic story Hollywood had told up to that point. And you've got all these, heroes and villains on both sides and this giant galactic scale conflict, and it's ginormous and all kinds of crazy stuff, and there's bounty hunters and there's a guy named Lobot, like this huge story, and then it ends with a teddy bear party. I just always found that as much as I love Ewoks, I do, and as much as I think Yub-Nub is a fun song, and I will put that on in the club and I will take my pants off and jump on the dance floor and get, busy. But just from a storytelling point of view, you cannot end something that epic with some teddy bears dancing. That's not how you end one of the most epic fairy tales ever told. If you're going to end this story, the story of the Skywalkers, you have to kind of, end with a bang. You have to blow it out of the water. And I think Last Jedi did that. It ended it in a way where it says, okay, everything else is gone. That's it. Forget it. It's done. It's over. And now it's all looking towards the future. So yes, Last Jedi ruined what Star Wars was because it needed to finally put a cap on the old stuff and say farewell.
I see what you did there. That's an interesting point in general, but I just have to mention this part. I think, imagine how much better Godfather Part 3 would have been if it ended with Michael Corleone dancing with teddy bears, right? I think that's all the ending that we all wanted. Instead of, Frodo Baggins going off onto his little boat ride at the end of Lord of the Rings, he should have just danced with some teddy bears. I think everybody would have been so much more happier as to the 7 endings that we got out of Lord of the Rings Return of the King if it ended with him dancing with some teddy bears. There you go. But anyway, yeah, it's an interesting point that you're doing here, but, in a way, you kind of paraphrased the whole "let the past die." You were going Kylo Ren on us there a little bit, and I think that you cannot let the past die. I think at the best you can let the past be altered in some type of way, and that's what I believe that there's only way to do it here. Again, this is one movie, and yeah, did it change some things of what we thought about Star Wars and alter things that we thought we knew about Star Wars? Yeah, it did. But at the same time, this movie, I believe, is very much again, to the people that say that, nobody likes this movie still got, for example, an A cinema score on Cinema Score. This, as soon as people left this theater, a lot of people liked it. Majority of people liked it. You don't get an A Cinema Score out of just nothing. We can say whatever we want about the Rotten Tomatoes percentage meter, where that thing is. Its IMDb score is still pretty positive. And regardless, with this movie, I think just you don't sink the Titanic instantly, right? It was the iceberg hit, but it didn't go down right away. It slowly goes down, and if you fix it a little bit, then maybe the Titanic stays afloat. But this iceberg that it hit, I think this is not this gigantic iceberg that the Titanic hit. This is more of an iceberg that caused a little bit of damage. It's there's some scratches there on the side like that, with some fans, but we're still staying afloat, and I think that's what The Last Jedi is. I don't believe that you can just crush an entire franchise that has been so beloved and one of the most important franchises in movie history with just one movie that a section of the audience really hated.
I like icebergs too.
The vodka?
Oh no, not in vodka. No, that would be terrible. To sort of build upon what I was saying about we needed to kill Star Wars. We needed to kind of ruin what Star Wars was. I'm going to ask you a pop quiz question.
Ooh, okay? Pop quizzes. I'm not Darth Ford right now, but let's hear it anyway.
Oh, so you might actually get this wrong. Okay. All right. So my question is this, and it's a serious question. Who is Snoke?
Who is Snoke? I believe Snoke is Wicked. That's who it is.
Teddy Bear Party.
Teddy Bear Party. Let's go back to that.
Here's the thing. I think I know exactly not who Snoke is, but I think I know who Snoke is supposed to be.
Okay. All right.
And the answer to that question is George Lucas. Hear me out. George has been around for a long time. He's a very old guy. He has seen the rise and fall of the Empire. He has a lot of history in this galaxy under his belt. And he has he's set certain parameters in place. He's the man. We all love him. He has set parameters in place that, to this point, pretty much every Star Wars movie, including The Last Jedi, follow these parameters to a point. Then we killed Snoke. And suddenly all bets were off. We needed to look at what this man did for this galaxy and erase all of not what he made, but erase the boundaries that he set up. By killing Snoke, I think that's a metaphor for basically killing the rules that old man Lucas has set in motion. He's, the idea that Star Wars has to be XYZ, that's in the garbage now. And yes, in a way, that is ruining Star Wars. That is killing Star Wars, because for 41 years, we have all been very comfy with the fact that Star Wars is XYZ. But now it's time to break out of that comfort zone. The Supreme Leader is dead. Long live the Supreme Leader. What we can look forward to now is Star Wars without rules. We have been, like I said, we've been living in the First Order. Everybody's conditioned to follow these rules. We're all stormtroopers. We're doing what Snoke says. But no. The Supreme Leader is dead now. It's time to be rebels. And I think The Last Jedi needed to be that, the one that shook up the establishment, that struck down the tyrannical ruler and said, no more dictatorship, no more of these, rigid guidelines that we have to follow. Like, God forbid, we have a Star Wars movie with a flashback in it. We need to destroy, because it was a very rigid structure. Like, even so much so that if there's a time jump in a Star Wars movie, we would have been like, whoa, what's going on? Why is there, Star Wars movies aren't supposed to have time jumps. They're just supposed to take place in like one small period of time. And because of that, I bet you any money, there was a very, very, very early primordial draft of The Phantom Menace where somebody was like, hey, George, let's have Anakin be 9 years old just for a little bit and then time jump to him being an adult in The Phantom Menace. And then, George is like, well, we don't have time jumps in Star Wars because the fans wouldn't like it because it's different. So I'm just going to have a whole 2.5 hour movie where Anakin is a little boy and he says yippee. And what happened? We got, we followed those guidelines and everybody's like, we shouldn't have had him be 9 years old in that movie. He should have been an adult in the movie. There should have been a time jump. So clearly everybody is saying, oh, don't break the rules. But those same people are also saying, oh, I wish they had broken the rules. So we broke the rules. Bye-bye Snoke. Bye-bye George. All bets are off.
So you heard it here. I think I know the perfect way for us to market this episode. It's so Andrew hates Care Bears and bears dancing. And number two, I guess he wants George Lucas to be cut in half with a lightsaber, just like Snoke was. But anyway.
You quoted me exactly verbatim there.
I know. It's like I'm on the internet myself, just typing out, this person said this. But anyway, yeah, it's an interesting point. It's an interesting way that you're taking this question, because I think that is a lot of ways that the main way that you can take this question. But still, I gotta disagree, because to let the past die once again is to just forget what Star Wars was. And I mean, like, yeah, you can forget about the storytelling stuff, and to an extent, Force Awakens slightly forgot about some of that stuff too, right? Like, in a lot of ways, the previous like six episodic movies, you could say that every one of the characters that they introduce in those movies are just introduced through other characters. It's through natural progression and whatnot, right? And they even broke the mold slightly with Force Awakens, because they introduced Rey with a straight cut, just straight to her. Again, it's a way to maybe make her look like a bigger deal, but still, they were already slightly breaking some molds at that point. And then Rogue One started changing it as well. And then Last Jedi is breaking some more molds, but to just say this, let the past die again, just like, I would be more on your idea of what you're getting at is if Jedis and Sith were just completely gone in this movie, right? Like, if they introduced this gray Jedi that people were talking about, for the last year or so, about being introduced in this movie and brought into this movie, then I would maybe be more on your side, as if, again, the Jedi Order was nowhere to be seen whatsoever. But, we have a lot of indications that the Jedi Order will in some way return, because Rey has the books. Right, that's how we ended. So in some type of way, the Jedi will return. But again, I would agree with you with some of the story tropes, like in the stuff like that, where we could now do a full flashback 15-minute scene. If anybody knows anything that I was most unhappy about with Last Jedi, it was that we should have just stepped into a full flashback scene of 15 minutes to be able to do some of that stuff and, open the storytelling style a little bit. Yeah, absolutely. But to let everything die, and that would be to let Star Wars die, the previous movies, and just start doing its own thing. That is where I believe that we cannot let Star Wars die, because we still got to live the magic and live the stuff that everybody has loved, because there's a reason that people have loved it for 41 years so much. So yeah, absolutely. That's got to be my final nail in my coffin, or at least for my part of the argument. What do you think, Andrew? Let's bring it home.
Well, I think I may have not saved the best for last in this guy. I think my final point is not quite as strong as my first couple points here, but I will say one more thing that is what I think a great example of the new Star Wars and how much cooler it can be in the future as opposed to the old. And here's what I think is a good way to sum it up. I'm going to say the names of 3 characters, and I want you to tell me what they have in common. Okay.
Okay. Word association. I like it.
Yeah. Quinlan Vos. Okay.
Okay.
Aura Singh.
Okay.
And Lobot.
Quinlan Vos, Aura Singh, and Lobot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my answer is a little too broad, but they're like side characters that just have not done much, did not do much at all, I guess. I don't know. I'm assuming it's something more specific.
You're close. Like if you just narrow down that answer, basically what it is all 3 of them were side/background characters who appeared on screen, and then we know their names, but they never said their names in the movies. We know their names because Star Wars is the kind of thing that tells you all this extra stuff.
Visual dictionary.
Every character. Yeah, exactly. The visual dictionaries, baby. That's Star Wars has always that's been part of its parameters that handed down by Lucas is, oh, that girl over there with the sniper rifle. Yeah, she was in one shot of the movie, but I'm going to tell you her backstory and her name and what planet she's from, etc.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time in history, The Last Jedi broke that mold, because it gave us a character who actually did contribute quite a bit to the plot, and we never learned his name. Benicio del Toro. Who is he? We don't know. His name's not DJ. We just call him that because I think somebody at Lucasfilm thought it was a snappy nickname. But the visual dictionary doesn't tell us who he is. The incredible cross sections doesn't tell us who he is. IMDb doesn't tell us who he is. He's just a guy with no name. And that is so not Star Wars that I think him alone, I could just show you a statue of DJ, and that is a perfect example of, breaking those rules. Maybe
he's just the first ever Star Wars character that had a mother that just didn't care about him. You just call him DJ. That's it.
That's sad.
and then just left him on a doorstep somewhere.
She actually, his full name is quote DJ end quote.
That's it. That's it. He's the Madonna of Star Wars. That's what he is. But so there you go, guys. We fought it out on both sides. Again, I imagine that the comments could get heated in this way, but please, try to make it a debate more so than just this is the answer and then that's simply it. So come on, just, talk amongst each other. We kind of think that one side is a little bit ridiculous a little bit, but again, everybody has a side to say. So if you really genuinely think that this movie has killed Star Wars, please let us know and just, go into something. Like give us a nice little paragraph. Because I like listening to those ones, because whenever I'm reading these ones, when somebody can go into like paragraphs and paragraphs of like reasons why they dislike something, just make it clear. I love those ones the best, because it just lets me see another point of view. So that's the best type of way to do it. If you have grievances with Star Wars or even the opposite, just, give us these longer comments, because I like reading those. And I think, Andrew, I don't know if you agree with me as well when it comes to that.
I do. Yeah. I like, I agree. I love seeing different people's points of view. I love when like I can talk to somebody like you who wasn't a big, the biggest fan of The Last Jedi, who can say something and I can be like, you know what? Even though I love Last Jedi, he's got a good point there. And I become a smarter movie watcher by doing that. And if you love The Last Jedi and you want to leave a comment saying everybody who hated it is stupid, don't do that. Instead, maybe try to look at, as it's okay to love it, but maybe try to acknowledge that maybe some parts of it are not perfect. And if you hated The Last Jedi, it's totally okay to hate The Last Jedi, but maybe ask yourself if what they did might not have been maybe, kind of good for Star Wars in the long run. Try to look at it from a certain point of view, and you'll be a happier, wiser human being for it, no matter what side of the coin you fall on.
Absolutely. Very well said, Andrew. So yeah, comment below, get into these discussions because those are the best parts. And again, just let us know, go to the eye icon and vote over there for us, because I'm curious to see, what the percentages are going to be like in terms of this vote. So anyway, this is Vote No Confidence. Andrew, where can people find you, buddy?
You can find me having teddy bear parties in the park and then being arrested afterwards, because those can get a little rowdy. Then you can find me on Facebook, Andrew Fantasia, and on YouTube, I have my own channel, which is called Andrew Fantasia, and I have a show called Thumb Together, where I review movies online.
I know it's such an interesting concept, reviewing movies online. I love it. But anyway, as usual, you can find me at Robert E. McDonald on both Twitter and Instagram, and Rebel Scum Podcast. Go youtube.com/Rebel Scum Podcast. If you haven't already subscribed to us, subscribe. And we got plenty of content always coming out weekly with different shows and different perspectives. I never mentioned it yet, but we got a little bit of a celebrity here on the other end, because who predicted Mortis, buddy? We had somebody here that predicted this, I don't know, what was it, 6-9 months ago, something like that, quite a while ago, that Rebels were going to introduce Mortis. So definitely check out those videos specifically, because you get to see Andrew predict the future. That's what he does.
I don't want to say I'm a god, but I'm kind of a god.
Yeah, he's literally the father incarnate from Mortis. That's exactly who Andrew is. So as per usual, thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to us once again. Like I said, like this video, comment below. So as usual, may the Force be with you
always.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.